I guess the thing to start off with would be if we could go around to each and everybody mention who they are, their tribal affiliation, and kind of like how they're attached to this project. And whoever wants to go ahead and jump in and go first.
Okay, I'll start. My name is Dr. Kirsten C. Kunkle. I'm Mvskoke. I am involved in this project mostly because our other participant here, Jerod Tate, recommended me for it, and I'm a classical operatic singer. I teach voice. I also write libretti for operas and run an opera company with a friend out of Wilmington, Delaware, and I'm based in Ohio.
Okay, let's go on to Mr. Tate. If you would just introduce yourself, give the audience some idea who you are.
Yes, Chukma, Chin Chukma Tahatak. So Hochifo Jerod Impichachaha Tate. I'm Jerod Tate. I'm a citizen of the Chickasaw Nation here in Oklahoma, and I'm a professional classical composer. And I was involved with Intermountain Opera Bozeman as partially a curator for that and getting repertoire together. And we also performed some of my works and also played the piano for it. So, but it was the first time that I was able to work with Katelyn and Kirsten. So that was really, really nice. So, and then of course I'd seen Shane years before, and so we were able to kind of reunite. So this was just a really, really great opportunity for us all to get together and be total opera nerds. It was really awesome.
And Katelyn, if you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself and get an idea.
Hi, my name is Kate Morton. I am a registered member of the Cherokee Nation. Something that really spoke to me by being involved with this project was not only getting to work with other Native American artists and to be opera nerds, like Jerod said, but also to make these connections and to be able to share it, because that's probably one of the greatest things that I love to do, is to share my culture with others. And what better way to do that than through opera and doing what I love? So it was an incredible experience for me.
And Dr. Doyle?
Yeah, hello, Shodaje. My name is Shane Doyle, and I'm a member of the Crow Nation, Upsalagad Nation here in Montana. And I came into the project because I'm a Plains Indian singer, and I also do a lot of other I guess performance-based art projects here in Bozeman, and so I work with the Intermountain Opera, and they asked me to be a part of this performance, and so it was a great honor to work with these incredible people, and I actually was able to participate. I was a narrator in one of Jerod's orchestrations that he put together. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's been several years since we performed the piece here in Bozeman, but I got to read some words that Jerod had written. It was a really powerful experience.
And that was Spirit Chief Names Animal People. How many years ago was that?
Oh gosh.
It's just all a blur. But Shane
It's
was the
all a
narrator
blur.
for a Kalispell story, a version of Coyote, and how he retained his name when Spirit Chief came down to rename all the animal people. It's a really, really great story.
Oh,
Shane blessed
so
us with
cool.
the narration on that. That was really cool.
God, that was awesome.
So for the whole panel, and you guys can, whoever can chime in, who would know, what is the project and how did it get started?
Mm-hmm. Kirsten, would you mind?
No, sure. Okay, so the project is called Circle of Resilience, and it was produced by Intermountain Opera Bozeman. And the premise is basically that they brought together Indigenous people across many tribes that all happen to be classical opera singers or involved in opera in some way. Additionally, there were also a few other people involved that were not operatic performers, like Shane, and we had a few other people involved as well. The big thing that separated this from other concerts is that we were performing works by Indigenous composers, Indigenous poets, but also a few of our standard operatic repertoire that's in the canon. So something that was really exciting for us as performers was that we were able to kind of branch out and show our heritage through the works that were part of our culture and part of our modern opera. But we also were able to showcase what we do on a daily basis as performers, to show all facets of what we do. So Jerod was one of the composers featured on the program. I was also one of the composers featured on the program, which was a huge honor for me. And then we also had some more traditional repertoire. Kate did North Wind, and we had a drum circle at the end of the concert. Just lots of really exciting things. We had people that couldn't be there in person that performed via video.
So this is a project that's already happened, right? You guys have already performed it. And it's going to be rebroadcast again. Where can people see it right now if they can see it?
Absolutely. So it will be available. It was recorded by Montana PBS, but it will be available on the Intermountain Opera Bozeman website from June 16th through June 30th. And that's a free stream. Anyone can watch it anytime in that time frame, but it's about 2 weeks that anyone can watch it. And we're hoping as many Native citizens and affiliated people will want to join in and see something that they might not see on any other stage, because this was very special that we were all together at one place.
Let's talk a little bit too, and anybody can chime in whenever you guys want, about the Intermountain Opera Organization and how they work with natives, etc. You know, because I did a little research on everything before we came in to do the meeting, and I saw their organization. It looks interesting. What was your experience working with them?
Well, it seems to me like this is the first project that they've focused on Native performers, and so Michael Sakir was just he was just on it. He just had a real mission to do this right, which he did. I mean, he really knocked it out of the ballpark. And, you know, Kirsten was mentioning earlier something that was actually really critical to us, and that is our repertoire and our singing was presented directly next to the normal canon of classical repertoire that's in opera. So that was really neat. This was not like a special concert in like a, you know what I mean? Like, okay, it's going to be just Indians, this kind of a thing. It was mixed in with standard repertoire. So it was a normal concert in that sense that featured North American Indian performers. And so I liken it very much to like in the past. This has happened frequently with other folks in different nationalities. So you would have a concert of Russian vocalists, opera singers in St. Petersburg, featuring their own native singers singing Mozart and Tchaikovsky. You know, I mean, there would be a mix, that kind of thing. And what they were doing is they were literally, purposefully putting Russian repertoire next to standard European repertoire that was already sung. And the same thing in ballet. When Russians really kind of snagged ballet from France, they did the same thing where they were featuring their own dancers. They were really putting themselves into the same arena of world players in those things. And so Michael gave us the same opportunity as American Indian performers to just step right into that same world stage that people have been doing historically. And you know, it's almost like the Olympics. It's like everybody's like going for first place, and so now we're part of that race, which is really great.
So for each of you, there are performances that you crafted yourself, and so for each of you, which are your favorite things that you did in this performance? And we can start off with Dr. Kunkle, and we'll go down the line.
That was most exciting for me specifically is that I was able to bring back 2 pieces from my dissertation recital. One of them in particular is one that I wrote, and it's based on the poetry of my ancestor, Alexander Posey. Now, it's in Pidgin English. It's called Hot Gun on the Death of Yudeka Harjo. And for Muskogees out there, you may know of him specifically from his poetry, but also the Fuss Fixico letters, and also his affiliation with trying to make sure that citizens had land during the Dawes Commission. So to me, it was very important that that particular piece was set. So at the time, about 15 years ago, give or take, I decided to write it myself when I didn't get a lot of interest from other composers. So it was written specifically for me, a pianist, and my brother who played double bass, slap bass. And I never really thought I'd get a chance to bring it back into a concert setting. So it was very exciting for me that Michael Saker had asked me to bring this into the concert and make it part of this special event. Equally exciting for me was that Jerod played on that piece with me, along with a wonderful cellist who took on the double bass, Julia Slovar, but also that I also got to perform one of Jerod's pieces on the same concert. So we were playing and performing each other's works. So that for me specifically was what made it so special. And I'm really excited to bring both of those works to new audiences.
Let's move down the line and talk to Mr. Tate about your contribution to the program and what you think your favorite part of it was, and kind of the effort that went into that.
Well, my contribution started before we put it together. I had recommended some of the vocalists, and then also we played a couple of my own compositions. Kirsten played a piece of mine called Hojo, which was dedicated to a Navajo doctor in Tuba City. And Grant Youngblood played a piece, sang a piece in the Kunkle language. Sorry, I'm not using my words well. That was entitled Standing Bear. And so those were the two pieces of repertoire that I was contributing. I got to play the piano with him, which was really great. And so anyway, I honestly, I don't think there was a favorite part of my concert. I thought the whole thing was absolutely incredible. I loved it because there were just so many aspects to it. And as an audience, I wanted to be in the audience, really. You know, I was really fascinated with the concert in and of itself. So every aspect of it was done really, really well. And I mean, Michael did a great job of putting that together and conceptualizing it. We all contributed, you know, just in very natural ways. It came together very naturally, actually. So I just thought the whole concert was really stunning. It's the kind of concert that I would like to go to no matter what the topic was. The way it was treated and the diversity that it had in it was really great.
When this is live streamed, will it be the first time you guys have seen the whole thing put together on the audio visual side, you know, on the opposite from the performing, or will you guys have already seen it?
This will be the first time.
So, so how excited are you guys? Do you get any say on the editing side or on the production side of that? Or are you just going to have to tune in and see what happens?
I think it's mostly tune in and see what happens, but we have a lot of faith in the people behind it. They have very high quality expectations and standards for themselves. So I think they'll do everything they can to make sure it's well represented.
Awesome. I haven't received a lot of stuff or a lot of comment from Ms. Morton. Ms. Morton, what was your experience in this project? You know, like how I know you're probably the youngest of all, everybody here in this Zoom. So what was it like to work with these, you know, established artists and get to mine their knowledge?
You used a very good choice of words there, because I definitely mined a lot of knowledge. I kept telling Jerod and Shane and Kirsten and Michael and Grant that the whole week. I was like, I'm learning so much because I am young. And going into this performance, that was something that I was aware of, and something not necessarily that I was self-conscious of or anything, but just that I understood that these people are in a position of where they have a lot more knowledge than me. And I am not in that phase where I know everything. I know I don't know everything. And so I would say that probably my favorite thing about this whole experience was the people that I got to work with and being able to learn so much from everyone. I mean, I asked so many questions, just ask them. I was constantly asking questions, and it was just a really incredible opportunity for me.
Great. So how did you get brought in specifically? Like, was it through your connections with Mr. Tate, or like, how did that process happen for you?
I was recommended by Barbara McAllister and Jerod to Michael, and that's how I got involved with it, because I worked with Barbara McAllister for 4 years in high school, and I had actually never met Jerod Tate in person. It's funny because we both live in Oklahoma City, but then we had to go all the way to Montana to meet each other, and so that was really fun. But yes, Jerod and Barbara got me involved with this.
Great. Is there any maybe a wrinkle to the production or something that happened behind the scenes that the audience won't see through the live stream that's connected you guys in any way that you could think of, like maybe an inside story that you guys thought were interesting on the Native American side?
Oh.
Shopping.
I was going to say ice cream.
Ice cream.
What is the ice cream story?
We ate a lot of ice cream.
We ate a lot of ice cream. Every night, maybe sometimes twice a day, there's a lot of good ice cream shops in Bozeman, Montana, I'll tell you. And so we decided to take advantage of that. And so every day we made sure we had ice cream.
So, Dr. Oh, go ahead.
Our big inside jokes were Albertsons ice cream and shopping. So.
I lived with Kate and Jerod in a house, and the three of us, I can't tell you how many times I said, you guys are having ice cream again? Don't you want real food? And Kate never wanted real food, and we had to keep reminding her that we needed to eat real food because she just wanted ice cream. And I said to both of them, I wish I had your metabolisms because I can't do it.
So that sounds like probably to me the most interesting part of everything we've talked about is that you three lived in a house together. Were you practicing and everything in there? That must have been an amazing, like, just to be the neighbor of that house. What was that experience like? What were some other is that something that you guys did for this production?
Yes, it was a great experience getting to live in the house with Kirsten and Jerod. It was a different experience for sure because I had never had a job where I had to live in the same house with other performers before. But I would say that I enjoyed getting to spend so much time with them and listening to everyone practice. I remember I would listen to Kirsten vocalize and practice, and I'd be sitting in my room upstairs. I'd just be like, whoa, I get to work with this woman. Then I would hear Jerod practicing, and I would be like, oh my gosh, this man is very talented. And so it was just a very surreal experience for me.
We had this wonderful thing that we could do because of it, where one day I knew Jerod and I needed a little more time on our piece beyond what had been allotted to us for rehearsal. And I heard him practicing, and I just said, do you want to just work on our piece? And he said, yeah, that'd be great. So we were able to do that because we were both in the same place, and there happened to be a piano there, and we were able to practice in the same space. That probably couldn't have happened otherwise, but we also just had a lot of fun, a lot of coffee. I remember at one point Jerod was practicing piano, and Kate and I were just singing musical theater duets in the kitchen because that's what we both love to do in our free time. So, it was just a lot of camaraderie, and because of all this friendship that naturally grew, I think we all worked so much better together than we might have otherwise.
Oh, absolutely. So,
opera camp.
I remember whenever I first met Shane, whenever we had our dress rehearsal, and Shane walked in, and I said, oh, this guy's incredible. I can already tell just from him walking in.
Well, then, we spent our time with Shane in the green room, and so that, of course, back in any green room, that's where people are really, just speaking very naturally with each other, and so we were able to spend. Yeah, I know, right? What's said in the green room stays in the green. No, what we're really talking about is really a human story, and this happens everywhere with anybody in any profession or any specialty that they have. Is that when we're all able to spend time with each other and talk about families. We talked a lot about family, actually. It's a whole bunch. Like, how many kids do you have? Shane's got, 29?
No.
I think
At last count.
I'm giving up. No, but I mean, just a really simple thing. But that's also what I really love and enjoy whenever I'm working with an audience. I love to be able to start talking about things that are like really common to all of us in life. So it was really, honestly, it was a very human story. And we came coming to sing and play music. I mean, that's a pretty darn good premise.
Absolutely. It looks like we're having some connection difficulties there with Mr. Tate. Dr. Doyle, while I've got you in, so you're from that area, right? The Bozeman area? Is that correct? So what's the deal with
I grew up on the Little Bighorn River.
Okay. And you're also involved in a lot of, I was looking you up on Google, you know, like you're involved in a lot of, you've spoke about Deb Holland and some of the things that are not necessarily music related, but culturally related, that are important for Native American tribes. What do you think the importance of productions like this are? You know, like how do they affect the overall perception of Native Americans to just to you?
Well, I think they're extremely important. You know, that's been one of the driving forces behind my career, is to, you know, identify and help to nurture and celebrate Native talent. You know, that's just something that I love to do. I love working with Native people, most especially in Montana, but all throughout the nation. And, you know, events like this really, I think, kind of showcase what was mentioned earlier. You know, no one has a more American experience than an American Indian. You know, I mean, we are who we are through our ancestral ties, but we're also a part of this American culture that is so diverse. It encapsulates, you know, so many different aspects of the world. And I think that as American Indians, you know, we grow up, our parents, the values that and the sensibilities that most of us have in our families are, hey, the world is your oyster. Whatever you see out there that you want to do, or whatever captures your passion, do it, you know? And that's kind of the community that I came from. Those were the values, and those were, I think, the traditions that I inherited. And I can see that in these people that I met here in Bozeman when they came for the opera. And I'm just so excited to invite them back next year, because we're having the 150th anniversary of the establishment of Yellowstone Park, which is, of course, the world's first national park. And all of the area that is on known as the Yellowstone National Park is on the homeland of many diverse Native people that are still here in the region. And we want to make a point of reintroducing ourselves as a permanent presence there for cultural resources and other reasons. And we want to use next year as the launching of that. And we want to do it, we want to use art, we want to use another, hopefully an operatic collaboration, and other performance-based arts to really kind of, you know, like I said, celebrate the American Indian experience, and to let people know we're still here. We have a lot to say. We have a lot to offer, and we have a lot of there's a lot of need for us right now to lead the way in this country. And I think that we want to step up and do that.
Well, I got everybody here. Can everybody hear me? Because it looks like we're having connection problems that are going to start up. But I just wanted to tell you guys, everybody, thanks so much for jumping into this Zoom meeting and doing this interview. Me personally, I love to see Native Americans of any tribe that are out there and impacting the world, especially in areas where the average public would think that it's a Western civilization or European standpoint type of artwork. So it's awesome. I'm going to look forward to tuning into that stream. Is there any aspect of this production or your experience, and this is just a broad question for everybody, that you'd like to mention before we wrap up? Like, is there anything that, or maybe shout outs that you'd like to give to individuals, etc., that we haven't mentioned yet, to say, hey, you know, X, Y, or Z, or these are, that, like, basically give them the stamp of approval? And this is open to everybody.
Well, let me just say, could I?
Yeah, you go.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I just want to say I was overwhelmed by the talent, not just the performance abilities of these people, but their ability to write music. The compositions that they created were just so astonishingly brilliant that I was really overwhelmed. I'm still processing all of it.
I just wanted to mention too that we had two performers that were not there in person, and they sent in video performances, and that is Barbara McAllister and Holden Monogame. And I just wanted to mention them because their performances were incredible, and I can't wait to see it on the stream.
If I may, Holden is Canadian, and I believe he's Cree. Is that correct? Barbara is Cherokee, and Barbara's a legend. She is really, like a grandparent in opera singing. Barbara has a worldwide career. She sang with the Met for a number of years. She lived in New York City for a very, very long time and decided to move back home into Cherokee territory and became an employee of the tribe, where she teaches classical voice to Cherokee citizens. And Katelyn is one of her students, and she is leaving a wonderful legacy. And so Barbara is a really, really critical part of this. And the good thing is that, she's a little older now, and so she doesn't like to travel, and she didn't have to, which was just terrific. She made a beautiful video, and the impact was just as, the audience was laughing. It was really, you could feel it. It was great. And so it was a really great testimony to what we can do. And again, as Native folks, since we're so disparate, we're so removed from each other, this is a really good example of how we can connect even further and take advantage of these modern day technologies that we've got. So anyway, but Barbara was a great example of that. We were able to bring in an elder in our community and have her participate in a way that was just as impactful as our live performances. But she's really important.
Yeah, I think that everything everybody said is 100% accurate and true. These people, I think we've all found our own small little family we didn't expect to find. I now affectionately call Kate my opera niece, which she said she accepts. So, and that's just kind of special. Jerod and I talk about our children all the time, just we've had a bond that I don't think has happened for me nearly as much as I would like in the opera field. I don't know how much of that is directly because we're all Native. I do know it is because we're all good people. And for me, that's been very special. Michael Saker did a great job trying to be as supportive as possible. I think he deserves special recognition. I think this is something he wants to do more of and be more out there and present to let people know that there are American Indians and Canadian First Nations people that want to be performing, that are opera singers, that are involved in opera or are in classical music, that want to bring visibility and representation to the field of opera as a whole. And we have a few big names in the opera field, but they're not common knowledge. They're not common names that the general opera public knows, like Barbara McAllister. She's a legend for Native American opera singers, but there's very few of us in the opera world who know who she is, and that's a travesty. That's something that needs to be remedied. As far as major names in the arts, you've got people like Maria Tallchief, and you've got Joy Harjo. But as far as opera singers, we need more. We need to have that representation available. And I think this is a start in that direction. This is the beginning. We all want to see it go much further. And we are so grateful to people like you, Jerod, who are willing to take the time to hear what we have to say, promote what we've done, and just get our names out there and encourage people, because opera can be scary. But it's not scary. The opera is for everyone. We are trying to make it approachable and important and something that is accessible to all. And the way to do that is to just make sure people know that our love of opera is important and present, and it's not just old dead white men. It is all of us. By creating this new music, we are inherently making opera also Native. And by singing this music, it is becoming Native, because that is who we are. And it's part of what we do. So I think that that's the most important takeaway for me. Yes, the camaraderie is amazing. And yes, this bond we've had made this important. But we need people to see the representation that's available and know that opera is for everyone. Literally everyone. We can find a way to make it work for you. And we hope that you'll join us and be part of that with us.